Hi, I'm Aalok Mehta. I play Barnaby on The Chosen.
Hey, Patel. I play Matthew on The Chosen.
All right. So, Paris, how do you feel about representing Indians on the show? Do you feel at all like you represent a culture, or is it does it inform your work? A, and B, do you feel like people look at Matthew and say, "Oh, that's an Indian up there"?
It's a little bit of both, but also like, being Indian is my DNA, so I wear it
Yeah.
with pride, and I'm happy to do that. But it's all, or just be who I am, and bringing my work into my character. Obviously, because I am Indian, like it influences that, and sometimes in my head, I feel like my accent does sound a little Indian.
Yeah.
So it's more of just like wearing it with a badge of honor and just being who you are, and that's kind of who Matthew is in our show, of discovering that for himself.
Yeah.
What's also very cool is, our audience is so broad and diverse, so a lot of people haven't seen Indian people or interacted as much, so it's kind of our opportunity to show them who we are and
Yeah.
kind of educate them and just kind of open up anyone's minds, because I'm learning so much being on the show with things I didn't know, and I think it's a great road to have a two-way street.
Yeah. No, I think it's great, like, the accent stuff too. You're mentioning the accents, and you find like, Shahar is the one person who is kind of actually from Israel.
I know!
Yeah.
Like modern day, but
Yeah.
we're all speaking in English, so at the time, probably I'd imagine in Capernaum and Jerusalem, and it was, there's these ports and people probably coming from all different areas. So like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's sort of analogous maybe to modern day, where you have actors of different ethnic backgrounds and maybe different takes on their version of the Middle Eastern accent.
Yeah.
So it kind of I feel like it works well. I feel like Dallas has kind of created this world where, it's not necessarily as important that everybody is like ethnically, Sephardic or Semitic.
Yeah, he likes that there's different like tones to dialect, because he's like, everyone came from different parts back then. Like it wasn't, there's no uniform or same dialect. Like, so he likes that there's different, because some people's accents are different and than others. So it kind of adds to the world of it being a melting pot.
Yeah,
which,
and I like that the Romans have American accents.
Yeah.
Surprise.
So that really, like, I thought stylistically at first, I was like, whoa, this is a weird choice.
Yeah.
But then when you watch it over time, it's brilliant to me.
Yeah.
It's like, because it's really like, creates that distinction. And then makes us a little bit more like homogenous, that we're not speaking that way. But
speaking of accents,
yeah.
In what we do and being who we are, there's a lot of like impressions with the accents and characteristics, and that adds to what I feel are like misconceptions about what they think an idea of. Like, for example, I think we've all experienced how people imitate an Indian accent.
Yeah.
And so we're just like, oh, you don't have it there, but what do you think are other misconceptions people have when it comes to India? Or have you like learned, or have you been trying to like broaden people's minds with that, or what do you feel like?
I feel like as an actor, it's not important within the writing that the character is a specific ethnicity. Mm-hmm. I think, I just try to bring myself to it. And then if bringing myself to it makes somebody just sort of experience that, hey, we're not a monolith. Like, I've been doing this for a while, right? So I've played roles where I was like a cab driver, right? And I remember like, or a 7-Eleven clerk, and 20 years ago, if you're auditioning for something like that, it would be odd if I went in and didn't do an accent, And so I feel like sometimes sometimes it's important to do an accent. Sometimes it's not necessarily a part of the piece. So I think nowadays, a lot of the stuff you go in for, a lot of stuff you audition for and do, it's not. It could be any ethnicity. So as a result, I feel like we're becoming more a part of just like, oh, Indians could be anything. They're not just the doctors and the engineers and the 7-Eleven clerks and the cab drivers, and they could be, the villains or the romantic leads and all that.
I think just with misconceptions in my mind, it went to like general stereotypes people have about India and the country itself. So for me, my response to that would have just been like, I would be like, come see India, come see. There's a lot more to it. I think people have this generalized idea and stereotype of the country, but it's a very strong, progressive country, and it's evolving, and you know, it's there's a lot of beauty here, and you know, I think feeling that and showcasing it through our work and representing ourselves to the audience is kind of helping bridge that gap.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what you're doing as Matthew too is like, it's, you know, it's not, to me, it's not about ethnicity, even though obviously you bring that, because it's in your DNA and it's, you can't escape that, but it's not about that. It's, you know, this, I overheard some folks at the Mumbai screening of The Chosen in Andheri talking to you about how, you know, and these are people who have worked, you know, and are kind of well known here.
Right.
We're saying you inspire us to see that you are doing it. You're in a show in Hollywood. I mean, they use the word Hollywood. Yeah. But you know that you're doing it, that you're working in television. It was inspiring to them. To say that, oh, that we can make it. So you know,
which is wild because I was like, you inspire me, because I've always wanted to work out here too. So I've known who they were. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It was just kind of wild to be like someone I've seen even while struggling like years ago, and now they're, you know, we're meeting them and they're appreciating what we're doing to the world with our show. It's kind of it's very just surreal. Like I don't think we ever saw ourselves having that or being part of it. Yeah, not to speak for you, but I mean, it's just been like.
No, the show has taken on a life that has, you know, for me, you know, transcended ethnicity, transcended even, you know, faith and traditions and beliefs and philosophies. Like it's, you know, it's about, you know, this person who inspired people, this revolutionary, and his followers and his disciples, and I think that's transcends, you know, the specificities of each of us, and our though we may bring those to color the roles and how we approach it. I don't think, you know, it's necessarily about that, which is a breath of fresh air. But sometimes in Hollywood nowadays, there's too much of a premium on like, oh, you've got to cast this person, this ethnicity, this gender, and whatnot. And you know, oftentimes, you know, it's refreshing to be involved in something where none of that matters. Therefore, everyone is validated.
How would you say like your family has influenced career choices and kind of just your understanding of both American and Indian culture? So how was it kind of growing up, and how is that fused into who you are today? I
was lucky, like in that my parents were supportive of me being an artist.
Oh, that's amazing.
Whereas, you know, but culturally, it's still, you know, there's not always an understanding of that. You know, there's still, you know, it's such an amorphous business, and you know, there's no like right way. There's no like, it's not so much like, oh, you go to university, you do this, and you get a job, and that's it. You know, you have a job and you have a salary. It's like, there's so much up and down in our business that part, and navigating that coming from an immigrant background is sometimes difficult. And it's not so much always, you know, the parents and the family, as much as sometimes it's like the parents and the family within me. And you know, them and me seeing things through their lens and filtering things through them. So I may be like, oh, my parents are totally supportive, and they are, but I may myself have a certain cultural lens and a certain, you know, I may be harder on myself, you know, about maybe missed opportunities and things like that, and some of that may be generational. Some of that may be, you know, even how we were like playing these games and stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's like test-taking trauma and things like that. That are inherently specific to our
And I think it also stems from just like what our parents went through migrating to the U.S. You know, they were carrying so much stuff, and hats off to them for you know, wanting to achieve what, you know, what we would say the American dream, or just going out there, but also, you know, made things a bit harder for us because we were kind of, maybe we've internalized it and taken it in and things like that. But it's definitely been an interesting thing. You know, I was lucky to have my parents' support as well. Took some convincing, because I think it's just that, you know, when they come here with nothing, or when they come to America with nothing and try to make their lives, they don't want to have that for their own kid, you know, so they want to make sure. So that's why the doctor, engineer, or something more, you know, safe. So to be an actor and go into an industry that's virtually unknown, where you don't know anyone, it's very scary. Like, So I was really lucky to have the support of my family, and you know,
that's great.
They were here for the premiere and very happy, and you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's awesome to be able to celebrate The Chosen with them, and you know, and your parents, and my dad got to connect with your parents too, and it's really, really unique and really special. And for me, it's like I'm a parent now, and seeing, you know, I always, my parents are supportive, and now my daughter and son both want to be actors.
That's what I was going to say.
Then I have a little bit of like,
that.
I encourage that, but then all of a sudden I have these things that I don't even know where they're coming from, and I'm like, no, you should be a doctor or engineer. Like, it's like I'm joking, but I'm totally fully supportive. But there is the thought in me, like, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
It's not going to be an easy road for that. So I kind of get where they're coming from, and I myself am an actor,
right?
And so
you know how it goes.
So now that I'm a parent, like I have even more respect and love and appreciation for my parents who allowed me to do this.
Yes.
Knowing that even I, as somebody who is an actor, is kind of like, oh man, that's going to be a tough road. You know, if you really want to do this, but you know, my kids are young. But you know, like, you sure you want to do this? Because you know, it can be tough. But so it's a ongoing,
you have to have a lot of strength, like mental strength, emotional. Like it's to be an actor. You know, the rejections and the highs and lows that come with it, and that's why being on our show, it's been an amazing experience to just experience it all, because you feel like, you know, I personally don't think that lightning can strike twice. So I like to live my chosen experience just in the moment and being present and growing with it.
We gotta enjoy this. I mean, this is the ride of a lifetime being on this show. So it's you know, I want to milk it. I want to slow down time and experience this and fully enjoy the next couple of seasons we have, because you never know.
Yeah, and hopefully along the way we're inspiring our next generation of people that see us and see themselves in us and want to keep paying it forward in their own way.
Pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
Yeah.
All right, we're done. We're good.